Sorry, guys. Obviously, there's going to be some financial issues. So, yeah, so I've had to sell my truck. So, because of the fact that my truck is now gone, even though I wouldn't be able to withstand the drive, certainly not the drive back into the hunt camp. But now that we don't have a 4x4 anymore, we just have our little Hyundai Elantra. Going back to the hunt camp is, of course, out of the question, and I miss it. And I would give just about anything for, sorry. There's a certain different type of peace when you're there. The stars look different. Everything smells different. It's just you were so far from the rat race and civilization. And I mean, we don't live in a rat race. We live in a tiny village, but I miss it, and I miss them, and I give just about anything to be able to go back again. And it's been a long time. I haven't seen them, and I would really like to go back. But so that's the hunt camp. Sorry, here we go with the toilet paper. Knew this was going to come in handy. Okay, so what else? I do still drive. Although I have a lot of difficulties with driving. A lot of anxiety. I didn't drive for, it must have been, I was off work for 3 weeks after the accident, and then I went back on modified duties for 4 months, and then just, my condition just deteriorated, and I could no longer do it, and my doctor said, that's it, you're done. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I can still drive. I didn't drive for probably about 2 to 2.5 weeks after the accident because I quite simply couldn't. I couldn't turn my head. I couldn't raise my arms, like my elbows up away from my sides. I couldn't, make enough of a fist to grip a steering wheel. I was in so much pain, quite literally from head to toe. And I actually forewent on the rental vehicle because there was no sense in that sitting in the driveway. I couldn't drive it. So I did get my husband to take me out driving probably about 2 weeks after the accident because I knew I was returning to work. And if I'm going back to work, I have to drive. And so we got in the car. I didn't have my new truck yet. And just went down our quiet little side country road. I think I got about 2 minutes into it. I burst into tears. I was shaking like a leaf. I felt like I was going to be sick. And my husband was saying, pull over, pull over. And I said, no, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to force myself to do this or that's it. I'm done. I can't, how can I go to work if I can't drive? So I do still drive. I have as I said, a lot of anxiety. God forbid that somebody should squeal their brakes. If somebody blows their horn, even in a parking lot, I mean, you're in the grocery store parking lot, so it goes bam, bam, behind you, and I'm like, what? To me, the sound of squealing tires or brakes or whatever, or the sound of a car horn, whatever, so I just fly into an immediate panic, and all my brain is thinking is, oh my God, something bad's about to happen. And I certainly had incidents where I've had to pull over because I've literally felt like I'm either going to throw up, pass out, or both. Break out in a full body sweat, shaking like a leaf, just massive full-on anxiety attack. Never used to be that way. I love driving. I loved driving. I didn't start driving until 2000. So I was in my 30s before I started driving. And I will be 53 in October. So yeah, I loved driving. And that's kind of gone now too. I drive when I have to. I drive the speed limit. I won't go 2 kilometers over the speed limit. I'm just in a constant state of, not too happy about being behind the wheel. Just a constant state of what's the word I'm looking for? Not really anxiety, but I guess overly aware, overly cautious of what's going on around me. So yeah, so my joy in driving has kind of been, taken away too, for sure. Now here comes the biggie. So I hope you're all ready for this. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 second. I have to pause. 1 second. Is this recording? Hello? Okay, yeah, here we go. Sorry. That's such a dork. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry, I had to like pause for a sec there and prop a couple pillows behind my back because my back was going, why are you sitting up for this long? You're killing me. Anyway, so now here comes the biggie. So, and here comes a big flood of tears, just warning you ahead of time. I'm not going to get through this one without bawling. So, having been, as I said, a country kid and growing up in Muskoka, I've been riding horses since as long as I can remember, really. And when we lived in the city, my daughter rides as well. I know she'd like to ride more frequently too. We used to ride in the city. There was a stable just outside the city, actually, that was, you know, a pretty good stable to ride at. But, you know, it was expensive and it's, you know, not cheap by any means. So we would ride as often as we could. But, again, it's, you know, not a cheap venture. And you're riding, you know, a pluggy old... poor thing, plucky old trail horse that's, you know, probably got 6 different people riding it every day. And it's just kind of, you know, go around the trail and whatever. I mean, it was fun. I didn't care. I will ride a freaking donkey. I don't care. I'll ride that goat down the goat track. I don't care. Just give me something to ride. And don't take that the wrong way. Anyway, and then we moved up north and there was a stable not that far from here. It's about, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes away. And my daughter and I used to ride there. It was considerably cheaper. And then that went out of business. Unfortunately, the owner apparently had quite a bad accident. So the stable folded up. So, and then through the good graces of a friend of mine, Kim, that I worked with at the nursing home. So if you're watching this, Kimmy, hi, miss you. Unfortunately, we have lost touch quite a bit with each other, which is extremely sad. But anyway, her dad owns a farm about, again, maybe about 30 minutes from here. And they have a number of horses on the farm. And Kim would say to me at work, you know, come out to the farm, come out, ride, come out and ride. So finally one day I took her up on the offer. So it became a regular thing. And we would ride, well, maybe not every week, but near the end, towards when I had the accident, we were riding pretty much every Tuesday. So there was, I mean, I rode several different horses at the farm, but there was one in particular, standard bred gelding. His name was Pharaoh. Sorry. His name was Pharaoh, and he was my boy, and I loved him dearly. I can put some pictures on the page of me and riding and Pharaoh and the rest of the horses. So I rode him quite regularly, and we would go for rides in the winter, rides in the snow. Who cares? I don't care. I will ride a horse. I don't care. Anywhere. And at one point in time, Kim had said to me that, you know, she had too many horses on the go and just really couldn't afford them. Although, like, they're at her dad's farm, but... you know, there's veterinary fees, there's farrier fees, there's feed fees. Owning a horse is an expensive venture. And owning, what did she even have at that time? Like 6 or something horses? Anyway. And that she was going to have to downsize. And she said that she was thinking of selling Pharaoh. And of course, my heart just dropped when she said that. And she said, well, what about you? Why don't you buy him? And I said, I can't buy a horse. What are you, nuts, girl? And she said, no, why don't you buy him? And then you can board him here at Dad's and he can just stay right where he is. And that'll make him happy because he'll still be with his herd. And yeah, and I'm not going to say, you know, how much money or anything that she wanted for him. And it was certainly not money that I could just say, oh, here you go, and hand it over. I'd have to win, not win the lottery, but I would have had to, you know, not pay my bills for like a month. Anyway, so not that anything serious was in the works, and certainly no money had exchanged hands or anything, but I was certainly very much considering it. Trying to figure out how much off of each paycheck I could give her. I had spoken to a very good friend of mine, Ashley, who was actually our wedding photographer. That was how we met, and we've since become extremely good friends. And hi, Ash. Love you, if you're watching this. Her husband is a farrier, and so I had contacted her and had her speak to Jared about farrier services for Pharaoh because he had what's called white line disease in one of his front hooves, and I wasn't sure whether that was going to be a bit of an issue. Like, is it going to be, more money for farrier fees, or more frequent? You generally get their feet done about every 6 weeks. And he said that no, it shouldn't be a problem. All right, good enough. I had spoken to her dad, or she had spoken to her dad, I guess, regarding what he would charge me for boarding fees, and did I want him to have any specialized grain or anything like that I would be responsible for that, obviously. So the I don't want to say the talks were in the work. The talks were in the works, and in my heart, I was like, you know what? This is bucket list shit. Now we're talking about number 1 on my bucket list is to own my own horse again. And I was this close. So I remember, about a week before the accident, well, 6 days before the accident, because the accident happened on a Monday. So as I said, we used to ride a lot on Tuesdays, just more simply because both of us seemed to be done work earlier on a Tuesday. So I was leaving my last client's house and headed out to the farm, and I remember thinking to myself, nobody deserves to be this happy. Nobody's life should be this perfect. I was a newlywed. Our first anniversary was coming up. The next week, I was headed off to the barn to ride, and I would always stay, extra time, and do barn chores, which just makes me happier than I can even tell you. There's nothing makes me happier than slinging hay bales. I probably couldn't pick up a straw now, but, slinging hay bales and, all that kind of stuff that involves doing barn chores. So, thinking to myself that, here I am, a newlywed, and we've bought a home, and we had a beautiful wedding on our own property. We built a gazebo down in our woods, and that's where we got married. I love my job. My husband's doing, loves his job. He's been there 30 years. We're both healthy. We're both happy, and nobody deserves to be this happy. Watch what you say, right? And I remember thinking that the only thing that could make this moment any more happier would be if I were actually going out to the farm to ride my own horse again for the first time in, since I was a kid. And that I had actually purchased Pharaoh. So went riding that night, did barn chores, did the thing. And then the following week, I didn't get to go riding because I was in the accident on the Monday. So that all stopped. I've not ridden since, obviously. If I can't, bend down and pull weeds out of my garden, I can hardly see me riding. I would be unable to ride, absolutely. I haven't tried, and I wouldn't try because I know I would injure myself. And although, Kimmy has said on different occasions that, why don't you just come out to the barn, Cal? Just come out and hang out, maybe do some grooming, like, just hang out with the horses. And it's just that smell. For any of you out there in internet land who have anything to do with horses, that smell. That smell. And I'm pretty convinced that is what heaven is going to smell like when I get there. It's going to be a happy combination of lilacs, horse shit, hay, leather, straw, barn, horse. There's just that smell. Hard to describe unless you're a horsey person. But anyways, yeah, so she's asked me to come out a few times and just, kind of hang out, and said to me, come out, your boy misses you, so. Sorry, guys. So I've not been back. It's, and nobody, please don't take this the wrong way. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone in any way, but it literally is like taking a fat kid into a candy store and saying, you can look at everything and you can smell as much as you want, but don't touch. Do not touch it, and you can't have any of it. It's just pure torture. Why would you do that? So I've not been back to the barn. And then I did find out a little while ago that, and I'm happy that Kim did sell Pharaoh. Well, she had to downsize. I mean, it's not fault by any means. And apparently a nice couple in somewhere in Niagara region, so quite far south from here, apparently bought him. And she gets regular updates, and you know, they send her pictures on Facebook and stuff of how well he's doing. Apparently he's doing extremely well, and he's spoiled rotten. And I'm so happy that, you know, he if she had to sell him, she was in a position where she didn't really have a choice, that he has found a really, really good forever home, and that these people really love him. So I'm glad he's okay. So yeah, this is the one that gets me. So yeah, so I don't ride anymore, and we do have some horses down the road from us, and we do try to go for a walk after supper every night if we can. Weather depicting, it's been like either so humid here that you can't bear it, or it's pissing rain. Take your pick. But we walk in the winter, you know, we'll walk down there, and it's 4:30 in the afternoon, it's almost pitch dark out. And we have our little headlamps on our heads and look like a pair of dorks, but we don't care. And we go down and see the horses. But the owners have, I guess there's been a few incidents where, nothing involving us, I don't think, but a few incidents where people have been stopping and feeding the horses things that they shouldn't have been feeding them. Some of these horses are quite elderly. They have a mare that's 33. And you can't have people, just random people that know nothing about horses, you know, stopping and feeding them. So now they have a sign up that's, you know, no feeding the horses, no touching the horses, keep your hands out. And obviously you have to be respectful of that. I mean, it's their animals, but that was my little horse fix, and now that's kind of gone too. But yeah, so there's no boating, there's no fishing, swimming. Oi, ugh. So our lake that we live on, and again, I'm not going to, you know, like get into super duper detail, but as with a lot of lakes up here, there's a lot of sandbars. So you can be way out in the middle of the lake, throw the anchor out, jump out of the boat, and you're standing in water up to your knees, but you're in the middle of the lake. It's really super cool. And it's like a wavy sand bottom. You just got to watch the clamshells that you don't cut yourself on that. And it's like literally like swimming in a bowl of soup, because the water's so shallow, and it's just heaven. And again, I got a million pictures I can post of us doing that in years gone by. So I really miss swimming, and I can't help but feel that if I could get into the water and just lie there on my back on the sandbar, I can't help but feel that it would be really therapeutic, because nothing feels better than lake water, let me tell you. I hate pools. I don't swim in pools. Ugh. I don't like chlorine. It hurts my eyes. It makes my hair and my skin smell funky, and I don't know. I just don't like it. It's if I had my choice between swimming in a pool and never swimming again, I would probably never swim again. I gotta have the lake. So, ouch. But anyway, yeah. So no boating, no fishing, no swimming, no gardening, and no horses. No farm. So, yeah. It's been really hard. I went from this super active, super busy, either working or at one of these activities. Yeah, I mean, it's sorry guys. I went from that to this in that. Literally, the squeal of brakes, and that was it. And it was all over. So, enough of the poor me whiny fest. So just you know, just to let you know that that's the way things are. So people, I have said this for as long as I've done what I did for a living. Treasure your mobility. It's not something that anyone who's young and healthy really gives much thought to. Like, did you get out of bed this morning by yourself? Did you go to the toilet by yourself? Did you wipe yourself? Did you brush your own teeth? Did you comb your own hair? Did you take yourself back into did you get in the shower by yourself or in the bathtub, whatever? Did you dry yourself off? Did you take yourself back into the bedroom and dress yourself? Did you make your own breakfast? Did you go out and hop behind the wheel of your car and go to work? You know, just simple things like taking yourself to the toilet and the dignity of being able to go to the bathroom by yourself. It's not something that people under the age of, I don't even know what, like there's a lot of people in their 80s that are still able to totally care for themselves, but people don't really give that much thought. And when you lose your mobility, I'm not paralyzed. I'm not saying that I'm not in a wheelchair, but my mobility is certainly not what it used to be. And pain is what prevents me from being as mobile as I once was. Treasure your mobility. You know, really, really think about that. When you get up out of bed tomorrow morning and you think, holy shit, I just got up and sat on the side of the bed all by my wee little self. No one had to help me. Nobody had to wipe my bum. You know, I got myself dressed. Yeah, so really, really, really put some thought into that. So anyways, guys, that's, I think, it for today. I've had enough of a cry fest. I'm still looking at am I looking at you now? Now? Is that right now? Okay. I don't know. God, I'm so new. And I'm just, all of this is going on my LG G5 phone. I don't have a camera. So anyhow, yeah, I guess that's it for today. So please be well. Please be safe. And I'll see you all in my next video. Mwah.